My name is Simone, and this is the story of how I almost died drinking tea in a house that smelled like lavender and fresh-baked bread. But I need to start at the beginning, because the beginning was beautiful. The beginning was love. I met Jordan when I was 29 years old. I'd just been promoted to senior project manager at a consulting firm in Atlanta, was living in a gorgeous loft downtown, and honestly wasn't looking for a relationship. I was focused on my career, my friends, my life. But then Jordan walked into the coffee shop where I was working on a presentation, and everything changed. He was tall, with kind eyes and the warmest smile I'd ever seen. He accidentally knocked over my coffee while reaching for cream, apologized profusely, bought me a new one, and somehow we ended up talking for 2 hours. He was a high school teacher. History. He talked about his students with so much passion and care that I found myself falling for him right there in that coffee shop. We dated for a year. The best year of my life. Jordan was thoughtful, considerate, emotionally intelligent in ways that shocked me. He remembered little things I mentioned in passing. He supported my career ambitions. He cooked me dinner and actually listened when I talked about my day. 6 months in, he told me he wanted me to meet his mother. "She's going to love you," he said, squeezing my hand. "You're exactly the kind of woman she always hoped I'd find." I was nervous but excited. Jordan talked about his mother constantly. How strong she was, how she'd raised him alone after his father died, how much she'd sacrificed for him. "She sounds amazing," I said. "She is. Just be patient with her. She can be a little intense about family stuff. My dad died when I was 8, so it's been just us for a long time. She might be a little protective." I can handle protective. I had no idea what I was walking into. Catherine lived in a beautiful Victorian house in a quiet suburb about 30 minutes outside the city. The kind of house that looks like it belongs in a magazine. Perfectly manicured lawn, flower beds bursting with color, a wraparound porch with white wicker furniture. She opened the door before we even knocked, like she'd been watching for us. "Jordan." She pulled him into a tight hug, and I saw him stiffen slightly before hugging her back. Then she turned to me. Catherine was striking. Tall, elegant, with silver hair swept into a perfect bun and piercing green eyes that seemed to look right through me. She was wearing a cream-colored dress and pearl earrings that caught the light. "You must be Simone." Her voice was smooth, cultured, with just a hint of southern warmth. "Jordan has told me so much about you." "It's wonderful to meet you, Mrs. Bennett. Please, call me Catherine." She smiled, but it didn't quite reach her eyes. Come in. I've prepared lunch." The inside of the house was just as perfect as the outside. Everything was coordinated, cream and gold color schemes, fresh flowers in crystal vases, family photos in ornate frames lining the hallway. I noticed there were a lot of photos of Jordan. Jordan as a baby, as a child, as a teenager. Jordan graduating high school, graduating college, at various family events. But there were almost no photos of Catherine's husband. Jordan's father. Just one small photo on a side table, a handsome man with Jordan's eyes, smiling at the camera. "That's my late husband, Robert," Catherine said, noticing me looking. "He passed when Jordan was very young." "I'm so sorry. It was a long time ago." Her voice was flat, emotionless. "We've moved on." Lunch was elaborate. Roasted chicken, garlic mashed potatoes, green beans almondine, fresh bread, and a salad with homemade dressing. Everything was perfectly prepared, perfectly presented. "This is incredible, Catherine," I said. "You're an amazing cook." "I believe in taking care of my family," she said, watching me eat. "Proper nutrition, home-cooked meals, family time. These things matter." I completely agree. "Do you cook, Simone?" "I do, though not as well as this. My job keeps me pretty busy, so I tend to do a lot of quick meals." Catherine's expression shifted slightly. "And what is it you do again?" I'm a senior project manager at a consulting firm. I oversee technology implementation projects for corporate clients. That sounds very demanding. It is, but I love it. And time-consuming, I imagine. Not much time for other priorities. There was something pointed in the way she said it, but Jordan jumped in before I could respond. Mom, Simone just got promoted. It's a huge deal. I'm sure it is, sweetheart. I'm just wondering how that will work when you two get more serious. Family requires time and attention. We're not even engaged yet, Mom. Yet. Catherine smiled at him, then at me. But you will be. I can tell. A mother knows these things. The rest of lunch was pleasant on the surface, but I felt like I was being evaluated. Every answer I gave, every comment I made, Catherine was taking notes in her head. As we were leaving, she hugged Jordan tightly again. Take care of yourself, sweetheart. And Simone. She turned to me. You take care of him too. He's very special. I know he is. She smiled, but her eyes were cold. Good. Because he deserves the very best. In the car on the way home, I asked Jordan, does your mom always assess your girlfriends like that? He sighed. Was she bad? Not bad, exactly. Just intense. I told you she'd be protective. She means well. She just worries about me. She acts like you're still 8 years old. I know. But she's been through a lot. Losing my dad, raising me alone. I'm all she has. I didn't say what I was thinking. Maybe that was the problem. Jordan proposed 6 months later on a beach in South Carolina. It was perfect. Sunset, roses, a ring that took my breath away. I called my parents immediately, crying happy tears. Jordan called his mother. I watched his face change as they talked. Watched him go from excited to defensive to apologetic. Yes, Mom, I'm sure no, I didn't ask your permission because Simone isn't property. Mom, please don't cry. I'm not abandoning you. Of course you'll be involved in the wedding. He hung up looking exhausted. She's upset. She's adjusting. She said she's happy for me, but she wishes I'd told her I was planning to propose. She feels left out. Jordan, you're a 32-year-old man. You don't need your mother's permission to propose. I know, but try telling her that. The engagement period was hard. Catherine inserted herself into every decision. She had opinions about the venue, the date, the guest list, the flowers, my dress. Don't you think a church wedding would be more appropriate than this outdoor venue? That dress is lovely, dear, but perhaps something a bit more modest. I've made a list of people from our side who simply must be invited. I know it's quite long, but they're family. Her list had 80 people on it. Our entire guest list was supposed to be 150. I tried to be patient. Tried to remember that Jordan was her only child, that this was hard for her. But there was something else underneath her involvement. Something that felt less like a mother excited about her son's wedding and more like a woman trying to maintain control. 2 months before the wedding, Jordan and I went to Catherine's house for dinner. When we arrived, she announced that she'd invited someone she wanted us to meet. This is Patricia, Catherine said, gesturing to an elegant woman in her 30s sitting in the living room. She's a friend's daughter. I thought it would be nice for you two to meet, Simone, since you're going to be part of the family. But Patricia barely looked at me. She was focused entirely on Jordan. It's so good to see you again, Jordan, she said, her voice warm. It's been 10 years. At least, Jordan said uncomfortably. How have you been? Wonderful. I'm a doctor now. Pediatrics. I just moved back to the area. Catherine beamed. Isn't that wonderful? Patricia was always such an accomplished young woman. I watched them talk, watched Catherine steer the conversation back to Patricia's achievements over and over. Watched her compare us without saying the words directly. Patricia volunteers at the Children's Hospital on weekends. Isn't that admirable? Patricia is so good with children. Natural maternal instinct. Patricia was just telling me she wants to settle down soon, start a family. Jordan finally cut her off. Mom, what is this about? What do you mean? Why did you invite Patricia here tonight? I told you, I thought it would be nice for Simone to meet her. No, you invited her here to make a point. To show me what you think I should have chosen instead. Catherine's face hardened. Don't be ridiculous. I'm not being ridiculous. You've been doing this since I proposed. Making little comments about Simone's job, her priorities, her choices. Introducing me to accomplished women who want families. I'm not an idiot, Mom. I'm just concerned about your future. My future is with Simone. If you can't accept that, we're leaving. We left. Patricia looked embarrassed. Catherine looked furious. In the car, Jordan was shaking. I'm sorry. I should have seen that coming. It's not your fault. She's never going to accept you, is she? I don't know. But Jordan, I need to ask you something. Are you sure you want to marry me? Because if your mother is always going to be like this. I want to marry you. I love you. My mother will adjust. She has to. But I wasn't sure she would. We got married despite Catherine's disapproval. It was a beautiful day, outdoor venue, sunset ceremony, all our friends and family celebrating with us. Catherine wore black. Not navy. Not dark blue. Black. Like she was mourning. She cried during the ceremony, but they weren't happy tears. At the reception, she gave a speech that made everyone uncomfortable. When Jordan was born, I promised his father that I would raise him to be a good man. Strong, principled, family-oriented. And I have. But now he's starting a new chapter, and I can only hope that the values I instilled in him will guide him through whatever challenges lie ahead. It was passive-aggressive and pointed, and I saw my mother's face go tight with anger. But I smiled through it. Danced with Jordan. Celebrated our marriage. And tried not to think about what life would be like with Catherine as my mother-in-law. The first year of marriage was wonderful, except for Catherine. She called Jordan every single day. If he didn't answer, she'd call me, asking where he was, if he was okay, if something was wrong. She had a key to our house that Jordan had given her for emergencies. I'd come home to find her inside, tidying up, which really meant rearranging our things and leaving notes about dishes in the sink or laundry that needed folding. Jordan, this has to stop, I said after the third time. Your mother can't just let herself into our house. I'll talk to her. He did. She cried and said she was just trying to help and that she felt so lonely in that big house all by herself. Jordan gave in. Apologized to her. Promised she could still come over, but asked her to call first. She agreed. Then kept letting herself in anyway. 6 months into our marriage, Catherine announced that we'd be having Sunday dinners at her house every week. It's important for families to stay connected, she said. My mother always had Sunday dinners, and it's a tradition I want to continue. Every week. I asked carefully. That seems like a lot. Family is never too much, dear. Unless you don't consider yourself family. The trap was obvious. If I objected, I was the one creating problems. Of course I consider myself family. I just want to make sure we're not overwhelming Jordan. He works hard during the week. Which is exactly why he needs a home-cooked meal and family time on Sundays. I've already planned the menu for the next month. She hadn't asked. She'd decided. Jordan looked at me helplessly. Okay, I said. Sunday dinners sound lovely. The first Sunday dinner was in September. The weather was still warm, the leaves just starting to turn. Catherine's house smelled like roast beef and fresh bread when we arrived. She'd set the dining room table with fine china and crystal glasses. Everything was perfect, as always. Welcome, she said, hugging Jordan and giving me a polite smile. Dinner is almost ready. Simone, why don't you help me in the kitchen? I followed her, expecting to help serve or set something out. Instead, she handed me a delicate teacup filled with amber liquid. What's this? It's a special tea. My grandmother's recipe. She always said it was important for young wives to take care of their health, especially when they're planning families. We're not planning a family yet. Well, you should be. Jordan is 33. You're 31. Time doesn't wait, dear. I looked at the tea. It smelled herbal, slightly sweet, with something else I couldn't identify. What's in it? Family secret, she said, smiling. But it's all natural. Herbs and flowers. Very beneficial for women's health. I took a sip to be polite. It tasted bitter at first, then sweet, with an odd aftertaste that lingered. Good girl, Catherine said, watching me drink. Finish it all. It works best when you drink the whole cup. I drank the rest, feeling oddly compelled to finish it under her watchful gaze. Perfect. Now let's serve dinner. The meal was delicious, the conversation was polite, and by the time we left, I felt fine. Normal. Maybe a little tired, but nothing unusual. The next Sunday, the same thing happened. Catherine served me the tea before dinner, watched me drink it, smiled approvingly when I finished. You're going to make such a good mother someday, she said. I can just tell. The third Sunday, I asked Jordan if his mother had always made this tea. What tea? The special tea she serves me before dinner. I've never seen her serve you tea. Every Sunday. The amber-colored tea in the china cup. Jordan frowned. Mom doesn't drink tea. She drinks coffee. She's not drinking it. She's serving it to me. Why would she do that? She says it's her grandmother's recipe. Good for women's health and fertility. Jordan looked uncomfortable. Are you sure you want to keep drinking something she won't explain? It's probably just herbal tea, Jordan. I don't want to make a big deal out of it. But I was starting to feel strange. 2 months into the Sunday dinners, I noticed changes in my body. My periods, which had always been regular, became erratic. I'd skip a month, then have 2 periods in 3 weeks. The cramping was worse than it had ever been. I was exhausted constantly. I'd sleep 9 hours and wake up feeling like I hadn't slept at all. I gained weight 10 pounds in 2 months without changing my diet or exercise routine. And my hair started falling out. Not dramatically, but enough that I'd find strands on my pillow, in the shower drain, in my hairbrush. I went to my doctor. She ran blood tests. Everything looks normal, she said, reviewing the results. Your thyroid is fine. Hormones are within normal ranges. This could be stress-related. Are you under unusual pressure at work or home? I thought about Catherine. About the Sunday dinners, the constant phone calls, the invasive questions about when we'd have children. Maybe, I said. I've been dealing with some family stress. That could definitely be a factor. Try to reduce your stress levels, get enough sleep, eat well. If the symptoms persist, come back and we'll do more testing. I left her office feeling frustrated but convinced it would pass. 3 months into the Sunday dinners, Jordan and I decided to start trying for a baby. We'd been married a year and a half, we were financially stable, and we both wanted children eventually. It seemed like the right time. Catherine was thrilled when we told her. Finally, she said, hugging Jordan. I've been waiting for this. You're going to be such wonderful parents. And Simone, you just keep drinking that tea I make you. It's specifically designed to help with conception. Really? Oh yes. My grandmother had 6 children, and she swore by this tea. It balances hormones, prepares the uterus, increases fertility. You're very lucky I'm sharing the recipe with you. I smiled and nodded, but something felt off. If the tea was supposed to increase fertility, why did my periods feel worse than ever? 6 months passed. No pregnancy. My doctor ran more tests. Your FSH levels are elevated, she said, showing me the results. That can indicate diminished ovarian reserve. What does that mean? It means your egg count is lower than we'd expect for someone your age. It doesn't mean you can't get pregnant, but it might be more difficult. Why would my egg count be low? I'm only 32. It could be genetic, environmental factors, autoimmune issues. It's hard to say without more investigation. I started researching diminished ovarian reserve. Found articles about environmental toxins, about chemicals that could damage fertility. And I found articles about herbs. Certain herbs, in high doses, could actually prevent pregnancy, could damage egg quality, could disrupt hormones. Herbs like pennyroyal, blue cohosh, tansy. I thought about Catherine's tea. About how she watched me drink it every Sunday. About how she'd been so insistent that I finish the whole cup. About how she'd said it was a family secret recipe that she wouldn't explain. No, I thought. That's paranoid. She's not poisoning me. She's just an overbearing mother-in-law. But the thought wouldn't leave my mind. A year after we started trying, I still wasn't pregnant. We went to a fertility specialist. She ran a complete workup, ultrasound, blood tests, genetic screening, everything. The results were devastating. Your egg quality is very poor for your age, she said gently. And your uterine lining is thin, which would make implantation difficult even if conception occurred. Additionally, your hormone levels suggest your body is experiencing premature ovarian failure. I'm 33 years old. How is that possible? It's rare, but it happens. Sometimes it's genetic. Sometimes it's caused by exposure to toxins or certain medications. Have you been taking anything unusual? Supplements, herbal remedies? I froze. There's a tea, I said slowly. My mother-in-law makes it for me. Every Sunday. She says it's for fertility. What's in it? She won't tell me. She says it's a family secret. The doctor's expression changed. Simone, I need you to stop drinking that tea immediately. If it contains certain herbs, pennyroyal, tansy, rue, it could be causing these symptoms. These herbs are toxic in high doses and can absolutely damage fertility. But she said it helps fertility. Some people believe that. But medical science says the opposite. Please stop drinking it. And if possible, try to find out what's in it or get a sample we can test. I left that appointment shaking. Catherine was poisoning me. She'd been poisoning me for over a year. Watching me drink it. Smiling. Telling me it would help me get pregnant when it was actually preventing it. I wanted to confront her immediately. To scream at her, to demand answers. But something stopped me. If I confronted her, she'd deny it. Say I was crazy. Say I was making it up. I needed proof. And I needed to know why. So I made a decision that would change everything. I was going to keep drinking the tea. But this time, I wasn't going to swallow it. The Sunday after my appointment with the fertility specialist, I went to Catherine's house for dinner as usual. But this time, I was prepared. I'd spent the week researching, learning about herbal toxins, learning about how to collect evidence, learning about the legal requirements for proving poisoning. And I'd bought something, a small recording device disguised as a necklace. It looked like a simple pendant, a silver disc with an engraved pattern, but it was actually a high-quality audio recorder with a 12-hour battery life. I wore it to Sunday dinner. Catherine greeted us warmly, as always. Jordan. Simone. Come in, come in. I've made pot roast. We settled into the familiar routine. Catherine and I went to the kitchen while Jordan set the table. And there it was. The teacup. Filled with that amber liquid. Here you go, dear, Catherine said, handing it to me. Drink up. You need all the help you can get. The comment stung, but I kept my face neutral. Thank you, Catherine. I raised the cup to my lips. But I'd practiced for this moment. I'd learned a technique called palming. It's what magicians use to hide objects. In this case, I was hiding the liquid. I tilted the cup as if drinking, pressed my lips to the rim, and let the liquid fill my mouth without swallowing. Then, I turned slightly away, pretending to cough, and discreetly spit the liquid into a small vial I'd hidden in my sleeve. Are you all right? Catherine asked. Just a tickle in my throat, I said, smiling. The tea is delicious, as always. Make sure you finish it all. I did the same thing 3 more times, emptying the cup into my hidden vials while pretending to drink. Good girl, Catherine said when the cup was empty. You're going to have such beautiful babies. I just know it. While she wasn't looking, I sealed the vial and tucked it into my purse. Evidence. Over dinner, I asked casual questions. Catherine, I've been meaning to ask what exactly is in that tea. I'd love to make it myself during the week. Her face tightened. It's a family recipe, dear. Passed down through generations. I don't share it. But if it's so helpful, wouldn't you want other women to benefit? The recipe is powerful precisely because it's rare. If everyone knew how to make it, it wouldn't be special. Have you given it to anyone else? Other women in the family? Just you, dear. You're the only one who needs it. The only one who needs it. Because I was the only one she wanted to harm. The conversation during dinner was revealing in other ways. Catherine kept making pointed comments. Simone, you look tired. Are you taking care of yourself? Jordan needs a wife who has energy. I ran into Patricia the other day. You remember Patricia? She just had her second baby. She makes it look so easy. I've been thinking about Jordan's future. He deserves to be a father. I hope that happens for him eventually. Every comment was laced with poison, verbal poison that matched the physical poison in the tea. And the recording device caught it all. I did this for 8 more weeks. Every Sunday, I'd go to dinner. Accept the tea. Pretend to drink it while secretly collecting samples. Record the conversations. And the things Catherine said got worse. Week 3, you know, Simone, if you can't give Jordan children, the honorable thing would be to let him find someone who can. He's still young enough to start over. Week 5, my friend's daughter is a fertility specialist. She says sometimes women's bodies just aren't meant for motherhood. Maybe that's a sign you should focus on your career instead. Week 7, I've been praying about this, and I really think God is telling me that Jordan deserves better. Not that you're not lovely, dear, but you're clearly not meant to be a mother. Week 8, I worry about Jordan's happiness. He's been so sad lately. I think he's realizing he made a mistake. All of it recorded. All of it evidence. But I needed more than recordings. I needed proof of what was in the tea. I took the samples I'd collected to 3 different laboratories. The results came back within 2 weeks. All 3 labs confirmed the same thing. The tea contained toxic levels of pennyroyal, tansy, and blue cohosh, herbs known to prevent pregnancy and damage fertility. But there was something else. Something that made my blood run cold. All 3 labs also found traces of a 4th substance, oleander extract. Oleander is one of the most poisonous plants in the world. Every part of it is toxic. In large doses, it causes rapid death from cardiac arrest. But in small doses, administered over time, it causes fatigue, weight gain, hair loss, organ stress, and eventually, death. Catherine wasn't just trying to prevent me from having children. She was trying to kill me. Slowly. Methodically. Every Sunday. For over a year. I sat in my car outside the lab, shaking, trying to process what I'd learned. My mother-in-law had been poisoning me for 14 months. Why? And then I remembered something Jordan had told me early in our relationship. His father had died suddenly when Jordan was 8 years old. The doctors had called it an unexplained illness. He'd been healthy one day and dead 3 months later. Organ failure. Cardiac stress. Mystery symptoms. I pulled out my phone and started searching for Robert Bennett's death certificate. Found it in public records. Cause of death, acute organ failure, etiology unknown. Date of death, November 12, 1998. It was October now. Almost the same time of year. I'd been drinking the poisoned tea for 14 months. Robert had been sick for 3 months before he died. If Catherine was following the same pattern, I had less than 2 months before the poison would kill me. I needed to act fast. I called my fertility doctor and told her everything. She was horrified. Simone, you need to stop drinking that tea immediately. You need to call the police. I haven't actually been drinking it. I've been collecting samples. And I need your help. What kind of help? I need a complete toxicology workup. Blood, urine, hair samples. I need documentation showing what's in my system and how it got there. She agreed immediately. The results were damning. My blood showed elevated levels of all the toxic compounds found in the tea. My hair samples showed accumulation over time, proving the exposure was chronic, not acute. This is evidence of long-term poisoning, my doctor said. With these levels, you're lucky to be alive. How much damage has been done? She was quiet for a moment. Your fertility is severely compromised. Your hormone levels may never fully recover. You've sustained damage to your liver and kidneys. But you stopped in time. If you'd continued for another few months, I'd be dead. Yes. I took all of this to a lawyer. She reviewed everything, the tea samples, the toxicology reports, the recordings, my medical records. This is attempted murder, she said. Possibly murder, if we can prove she did the same thing to her husband. You need to go to the police immediately. I want to be absolutely certain we have enough evidence. I want her in prison, not out on a technicality. You have more than enough evidence. But there's one more thing we should do. What? Exhume her husband's body. If he died of the same oleander poisoning, we can prove a pattern. That makes this premeditated, calculated. That means she won't just be charged with attempted murder, she'll be charged with murder. Can we do that without the family's permission? If there's probable cause to believe he was murdered, yes. The district attorney can order the exhumation. We went to the police. I sat in an interview room and told them everything. Showed them everything. The detective listened quietly, taking notes. When I finished, she sat back and looked at me with something like awe. You kept drinking the tea. I pretended to. I collected samples. I needed proof. You risked your life to gather evidence. I couldn't let her get away with it. And I needed to make sure no one would ever doubt me. Mother-in-law says I was just serving tea. I have recordings of her telling me I'm worthless, that Jordan should leave me. I have lab results showing exactly what's in the tea. I have medical records showing the damage to my body. She can't deny any of it. You're either very brave or very foolish. I'm angry. And angry women are dangerous. They opened an investigation immediately. And they petitioned to exhume Robert Bennett's body. The exhumation took 3 weeks. The testing took another 2 weeks. The results confirmed everything. Robert Bennett's remains showed high levels of oleander compounds in the bone and tissue samples. The pattern of accumulation matched what would be expected from chronic poisoning over several months. Catherine had murdered her husband 25 years ago. And she'd been trying to murder me using the exact same method. I needed to tell Jordan before the police arrested his mother. He deserved to hear it from me. I'd been keeping all of this secret from him for 3 months. Every Sunday, I'd gone to his mother's house, smiled through dinner, pretended everything was fine. It had been killing me to lie to him. But I couldn't risk him confronting Catherine before I had all the evidence. Now I had it. And I needed to tell him. We were sitting on our couch on a Tuesday evening. He was grading papers. I was pretending to read a book but actually rehearsing what I was going to say. Jordan, I need to talk to you about something. It's serious. He looked up, concerned. What's wrong? Your mother has been poisoning me. He stared at me. What? The tea she's been giving me every Sunday for the past 14 months. It's been poisoned. She's been systematically trying to destroy my fertility and eventually kill me. Simone, that's insane. Why would you even think? Because I had the tea tested. By 3 different labs. All of them found the same toxic herbs. Pennyroyal, tansy, blue cohosh, and oleander extract. Oleander. It's deadly. In small doses over time, it causes organ failure. Jordan's face had gone pale. You're serious? I've been collecting evidence for 3 months. Recordings of our conversations, samples of the tea, medical records showing the damage to my body. And there's more. More. Your father. The police exhumed his body. He died of the same oleander poisoning. Jordan stood up abruptly, knocking over his stack of papers. No. No, that's not possible. My father died of an illness. Your father was murdered. By your mother. The same way she's been trying to murder me. You're lying. You're making this up because you don't like her. Jordan, look at me. He did. And he must have seen something in my face because he stopped talking. I have been poisoned for 14 months. I will probably never have children now because of the damage to my fertility. I've lost hair, gained weight, suffered chronic fatigue, and nearly died. Your mother did that to me. Deliberately. Every Sunday, she watched me drink poison and smiled. Tears were streaming down my face now. I'm not lying. I'm not making this up. And I need you to believe me. Jordan sat down heavily. He was shaking. Show me. Show me the evidence. I did. All of it. The lab reports. The toxicology results. The recordings of Catherine telling me I wasn't good enough, that Jordan deserved better, that I should leave him. The medical records showing my declining health. The report on Robert Bennett's exhumation and cause of death. Jordan listened to the recordings with his head in his hands. When he heard his mother's voice saying, if you can't give Jordan children, the honorable thing would be to let him find someone who can, he started crying. Oh God, Simone. Oh God. I didn't know. I didn't. How could I not have known? She's your mother. You trusted her. You're supposed to trust your mother. She killed my father. She's been trying to kill you. Yes. Why? Why would she do this? I don't know. Control. Jealousy. Mental illness. The police will ask her when they arrest her. When are they arresting her? Tomorrow morning. I wanted you to hear it from me first. Jordan stood up and grabbed his car keys. Where are you going? To confront her. To ask her why. I don't know, but I can't just sit here. Jordan, wait. But he was already out the door. I called the detective immediately. He's going to his mother's house. You need to be there. We're already on our way. The arrest warrant is being executed at 8 a.m. tomorrow, but we can move it up if necessary. Please. I don't know what he's going to do. I got in my car and drove to Catherine's house. When I arrived, Jordan's car was in the driveway. The front door was open. I could hear shouting. I ran inside. Jordan was in the living room with Catherine. She was crying, and he was standing over her, shaking with rage. How could you? How could you kill him? He was my father. I did it for you. Catherine sobbed. He was going to leave us. He was going to take you away from me. So you murdered him. I protected our family. You destroyed our family. And then you tried to murder my wife. She's not good enough for you. Can't you see that? She's too ambitious, too career-focused. She'll never make you happy. She'll never give you children. Because you poisoned her. I was trying to show you who she really is. A defective woman who can't even perform the most basic female function. I felt something break inside me. I was never defective, I said, stepping into the room. I was fertile and healthy until you destroyed my body. You did this to me. You stole my ability to have children because you're a controlling, evil woman who couldn't stand to lose control over your son. Catherine looked at me with pure hatred. You took him from me. He was mine first. He was never yours. He's not property. He's a human being with his own life. I raised him. I sacrificed everything for him. He owes me. He owes you nothing. And now you're going to prison. As if on cue, police cars pulled up outside. 4 officers entered the house. Catherine Bennett, you're under arrest for the attempted murder of Simone Bennett and the murder of Robert Bennett. They read her rights while putting her in handcuffs. She was still crying, still screaming. Jordan, please. I did this for you. Don't let them take me. Jordan turned away from her. She was led out of the house and put in the back of a police car. I watched through the window as they drove away with her. Jordan collapsed onto the couch, sobbing. I sat next to him and held him while he cried. I'm so sorry, he kept saying. I'm so sorry. You didn't know. I should have known. I should have protected you. You did protect me. You defended me to her over and over. You took my side even when it was hard. You couldn't have known she was this sick. My whole life is a lie. Everything I thought about my family, my childhood, my father's death, it was all a lie. I know. I'm so sorry, Jordan. We sat there for a long time, holding each other in the house where his mother had lived, where she'd planned and executed 2 attempted murders. Eventually, we went home. And we started the long, painful process of healing. Catherine's trial was a media sensation. Suburban mother accused of poisoning daughter-in-law with herbal tea. Woman faces murder charges in husband's death 25 years after his burial. The poisoned tea, a story of jealousy, control, and attempted murder. It was everywhere. News channels, social media, podcasts. Everyone had an opinion. Some people couldn't believe it. She seemed like such a nice lady. She went to church. Others weren't surprised. Controlling mothers-in-law are everywhere. This is just the extreme version. The trial lasted 3 weeks. The prosecution had overwhelming evidence. My toxicology reports, the tea samples, the lab results, the recordings, the exhumation findings. They had witnesses, my fertility doctor, the lab technicians, the medical examiner who'd analyzed Robert Bennett's remains. And they had me. I testified for 2 full days. The prosecutor walked me through everything. Meeting Catherine. The Sunday dinners. The tea. The declining health. The decision to gather evidence. Why didn't you stop drinking the tea immediately when you suspected it was poisoned? Because I needed proof. If I'd confronted her without evidence, she would have denied it. Said I was making it up. Said I was trying to drive a wedge between her and Jordan. I needed irrefutable evidence so she couldn't lie her way out of it. So you risked your life to gather evidence? Yes. Why? Because I wanted justice. And I wanted to make sure she could never do this to anyone else. They played the recordings in court. The jury heard Catherine's voice. If you can't give Jordan children, the honorable thing would be to let him find someone who can. Jordan deserves better than a defective woman. I've been praying about this, and I really think God is telling me that Jordan made a mistake. They saw her face on the video from a hidden camera I'd installed, watching me drink the tea, smiling with satisfaction when I finished it. The defense tried to argue that Catherine had mental health issues. That she didn't understand what she was doing. That she'd been traumatized by her husband's affair, a lie. There was no evidence of an affair and had been paranoid about losing Jordan the same way. But the prosecution demolished that defense. This was premeditated, calculated, and sustained over more than a year. She knew exactly what she was doing. She researched toxic herbs. She measured doses carefully so Simone wouldn't die too quickly and raise suspicion. She gaslit her, manipulated her, and watched her suffer. This wasn't mental illness. This was evil. The defense put Catherine on the stand. It was a mistake. Did you give your daughter-in-law tea containing toxic herbs? Yes, but I didn't know they were toxic. It was my grandmother's recipe. Your grandmother who died in 1975? Who couldn't have possibly given you this recipe? She wrote it down. Where is this written recipe? I don't have it anymore. How convenient. Did you give your husband the same tea before he died? I don't remember. It was so long ago. Your husband died of oleander poisoning. The same substance found in the tea you gave Simone. You expect this jury to believe that's a coincidence. I don't know how oleander got into the tea. Yes, you do. Because you put it there. You researched it. You knew exactly what dose would kill over time without immediate detection. You did this to your husband. And you tried to do it to Simone. Catherine broke down on the stand. I didn't want to kill her. I just wanted her to leave. I wanted Jordan back. He was mine first. She took him from me. The courtroom went silent. So you admit you poisoned her intentionally? Catherine realized what she'd said. looked at her lawyer with panic. But it was too late. The jury had heard her confession. They deliberated for 4 hours. Guilty on all counts. Attempted murder of Simone Bennett. Murder in the first degree of Robert Bennett. Assault with a deadly weapon. At sentencing, the judge looked at Catherine with disgust. Mrs. Bennett, in my 30 years on the bench, I have never seen a case quite like this. You murdered your husband 25 years ago and got away with it. Then, when your son married, you decided to eliminate his wife using the exact same method. You poisoned her for over a year, watching her suffer, gaslighting her, and pretending to care about her. This level of calculated cruelty is shocking. Catherine stood there, expressionless now. The tears were gone. She looked hollow. I'm sentencing you to 25 years to life for the attempted murder of Simone Bennett, and an additional 25 years to life for the murder of Robert Bennett, to be served consecutively. You will serve a minimum of 50 years before you are eligible for parole. 50 years. Catherine was 62 years old. She'd be 112 before she could even apply for parole. She'd die in prison. As they led her away, she looked at Jordan one last time. I loved you, she said. Everything I did because I loved you. Jordan looked back at her with a face full of pain. No, he said quietly. You didn't love me. You wanted to possess me. There's a difference. And that was the last time Jordan ever spoke to his mother. The first year after the trial was the hardest. Jordan was consumed with guilt. I brought you into her life. I insisted on those dinners. I ignored all the warning signs. You didn't know. I'd tell him over and over. Neither of us knew. But he struggled to forgive himself. He went to therapy. We both did. Individual and couples counseling. Slowly, painfully, we started to heal. But my body wasn't healing. The fertility specialists confirmed what I'd already suspected. The damage was permanent. My egg reserves were depleted. My hormone levels were irreparably altered. Natural conception was essentially impossible. What about IVF? I asked. We could try, but your odds would be very low. Less than 5% success rate. And carrying a pregnancy would be high risk given the damage to your uterine lining. I cried for a week. Grieved the children I'd never have. The family I'd imagined. Jordan grieved with me. I'm so sorry, he said. This is my fault. Stop. This is Catherine's fault. Not yours. Never yours. We considered surrogacy, adoption, fostering. But mostly, we just tried to rebuild our lives. And then, 18 months after the trial, something miraculous happened. I got pregnant. Naturally. Without IVF. Without medical intervention. I took 3 tests because I couldn't believe it. They were all positive. How is this possible? I asked my doctor. She reviewed my chart, ran new blood tests, looked at everything with fresh eyes. This is remarkable. Your body has healed significantly. I've never seen this level of recovery from the kind of damage you sustained. Your egg reserves are still low, but somehow one viable egg was released and fertilized. This is a medical miracle. I was terrified the entire pregnancy. Convinced I'd lose the baby. Convinced Catherine's poison had done too much damage. But I didn't lose her. Our daughter was born on a rainy morning in March. 7 pounds, 2 ounces. Healthy. Perfect. We named her Grace. Because Grace was what we'd been given. A chance we didn't expect. A healing we didn't think was possible. Jordan cried when he held her. She's beautiful. She is. My mother will never meet her. I know. Good. 18 months later, we had a son. Another miracle. Another pregnancy that shouldn't have been possible. We named him Robert, after Jordan's father. The man Catherine had murdered. The grandfather our children would never know. My fertility doctor said she wanted to write a case study about my recovery. This could give hope to other women who've experienced similar trauma. I agreed. If my story could help someone else, it was worth telling. Catherine's first parole hearing was scheduled for 5 years after her sentencing. Legally, she wasn't eligible for parole for 50 years, but she could petition for a hearing based on good behavior or new evidence. She did both. Her lawyer argued that she'd been a model prisoner, had taken mental health counseling, and had come to understand the severity of her crimes. I was notified of the hearing and asked if I wanted to attend. I almost didn't go. Catherine was part of my past. I'd moved on, built a beautiful life, healed in ways I never thought possible. But Jordan wanted to go. I need to see her. I need to know if she's really changed. So we went. The hearing was in a small room at the correctional facility. Catherine was led in wearing an orange jumpsuit, her hands cuffed. She looked old. Prison had aged her dramatically. Her hair was completely white now, her face lined and grey. But when she saw Jordan, her eyes lit up. "Jordan. My boy. You came." Jordan didn't respond. The parole board reviewed her case. Read the details of her crimes. Asked her questions. "Mrs. Bennett, do you understand the severity of what you did?" "Yes," Catherine said, her voice shaking. "I understand. I was sick. I was controlling and obsessed. I hurt people I should have loved. I'm sorry. You poisoned your daughter-in-law for over a year and murdered your husband. These aren't minor crimes. I know. If I could take it back, I would. But I can't. All I can do is try to make amends." "How do you plan to make amends?" "By telling the truth. By admitting what I did. By helping other women recognize the signs of this kind of controlling behavior so they can get help before it's too late." It sounded good. Rehearsed. Like something a lawyer had coached her to say. Then the board asked if anyone wanted to make a statement. I stood up. Catherine's eyes went to me, and I saw something flicker there. Fear. Hatred. I couldn't tell. 5 years ago, this woman tried to kill me. She succeeded in destroying my fertility, damaging my organs, and stealing years of my life. She did this while pretending to care about me, while serving me tea with a smile, while asking about my day and my dreams and my future. I paused, gathering my thoughts. She's sitting here now, telling you she's sorry, that she was sick, that she's changed. But I want you to know something. During her trial, I submitted letters she's been writing from prison. Letters to my husband, begging him to visit. And in those letters, she doesn't accept responsibility. She blames me. Says I drove a wedge between her and her son. Says I destroyed their family. Says if I'd just been a better wife, none of this would have happened. I pulled out copies of the letters and handed them to the parole board. These were written 6 months ago, while she's been claiming to be reformed. This is who she really is. And she will never change. Catherine's face had gone red. Those letters, you took them out of context. I took them exactly in context. You're manipulative, Catherine. You're a liar. And if you ever get out of prison, you'll hurt someone else. Maybe not with poison. But you'll hurt someone. I sat down. The parole board read the letters in silence. When they were finished, the chairman looked at Catherine. "Mrs. Bennett, these letters do not show remorse or rehabilitation. They show continued manipulation and blame shifting. Your parole is denied. You will be eligible for another hearing in 5 years." Catherine's face crumpled. "No, please. I've changed. I swear I've changed." "That's not what your own words suggest. This hearing is concluded." As they led her out, she looked at Jordan one more time. "Please," she said. "Please forgive me. I'm your mother. I love you." Jordan stood up. For a moment, I thought he might speak to her. Instead, he said, "You were never my mother. Mothers protect their children. Mothers love without conditions. You were just a woman who gave birth to me and then spent my whole life trying to control me." He took my hand, and we walked out. Catherine screaming followed us down the hallway. "Jordan. Jordan, please. Don't leave me. Don't abandon me like everyone else." We didn't look back. Today is Sunday. Jordan and I are in our kitchen making breakfast. Grace, now 7, is coloring at the kitchen table. Robert, 5, is building something with blocks in the living room. It's a beautiful morning. Sunlight streaming through the windows. The smell of coffee and pancakes. Laughter and chatter and the comfortable chaos of family life. Sunday used to mean Catherine's house. The forced dinners. The poisoned tea. The constant criticism and manipulation. Now Sunday means this. Peace. Safety. Love. My phone buzzes. It's a text from my fertility doctor. Hope you're well. Still want to use your story for the case study? I text back, absolutely. If it helps even one person, it's worth it. The case study was published 3 months later in a medical journal. It's been shared thousands of times. I've received emails from women all over the world, women who've experienced similar trauma, women who are fighting to heal, women who needed to know that recovery is possible. One woman wrote, "Your story gave me hope. I thought I'd lost everything. But if you can heal, maybe I can too." That makes it all worth it. Jordan comes up behind me and wraps his arms around my waist. What are you thinking about? How different life is now. Better. So much better. Do you ever regret it? Gathering the evidence the way you did? Risking your life? No. Because if I hadn't, she'd still be out there. And you'd still be under her control. And we wouldn't have this. I gesture to our kitchen. Our children. Our life. You're right, he says. We're free. And we are. Free from Catherine's poison. Free from her manipulation. Free from the fear and the control and the constant stress. We're free. And that's what Catherine never understood. That freedom is worth fighting for. That some prisons are invisible until you escape them. That love shouldn't feel like chains. She's in a physical prison now, but in some ways, she always was. Trapped by her need for control. By her inability to let go. By her desperate, clinging love that suffocated everything it touched. I feel sorry for her sometimes. But mostly, I feel grateful. Grateful that I survived. Grateful that I fought back. Grateful that I had the courage to risk everything to prove the truth. And grateful for this moment. This morning. This life. Mom. Grace calls from the table. Can we go to the park today? Absolutely, I call back. After breakfast. Jordan smiles at me. Sunday at the park. I like the sound of that. Me too. We finish making breakfast. We sit down with our children. We eat and laugh and plan our day. And somewhere, in a prison 200 miles away, Catherine sits in a cell, thinking about the family she destroyed. But we don't think about her anymore. Because this is our life now. And it's beautiful.